Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 3 of Free Dive to the Future. First swim in another country, and I'm ready. Because last time we had in another country was episode 11 of season 2, and that's when we went to Australia with Rin. And so I'm guessing since in episode 2 we didn't really have any Samazuka focus whatsoever, hardly at all. So I'm guessing this episode's going to make up for it and kind of give us what Rin's been doing while Haru and everybody else has been over in Tokyo in college. So I'm pretty excited by that. I also want to give a little shout out to NL. NL just said in one of their comments for episode 0 a couple weeks back, and I'm just now getting to talking about it, but was basically saying that there's supposed to be some kind of literary theme in this season, some kind of theme from a classical story. I don't spoil me, but that's been in the back of my brain because I'm an English and communications major, so it's like, ugh. So I'm all about it. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my brain, just going to tuck that away, and then when it surfaces, it'll be brought up in discussion. But anyway, I am really liking this season so far. The first 2 episodes have been really, really good. And I think that it's because we've had all this build-up over the last 2 seasons and with these movies and OVAs that we've gotten to really know these characters. They're all fleshed out at this point. We know their personalities. We know their quirks. We don't exactly know the quirks of Akuya, Hiyori, Asahi, and Natsuya quite yet. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on Nao and Kasumi, but we don't have the newer characters kind of fleshed out yet. But I figure that's what this season's going to do. But we all know Rei and Nagisa and Haru and Mako and Sosuke and Rin and Notori and Momo. Like, we all know their personalities and quirks. So I feel like at this point in the show, it really has the benefit of being able to just give us things happening, and we can, as the audience, we know the quirks and personalities of these characters. We can kind of fill in the gaps. So I like that a lot. I like that this show is wasting no time in having stuff happen. Like, there's so much stuff happening per episode that's really, really cool because there's lots to talk about. It's just like, I haven't felt like with these last 2 episodes there's been any filler. It's just all been stuff happening, and I'm all about it. So, with that being said, I have my handy-dandy bingo card. I have my stamper. I am ready to go with episode 3 and see what all our Diva Shark Boy has been up to. So, let's dive in, shall we? We're going to start episode 3 of Swim Dive to the Future here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh my god, you guys. Oh, let me stop this. OMG. Yes, please. Oh my gosh. That episode was really fun. I want to go back to it, though. I accidentally exited out. I want to go back to it and replay it without the sound because there was a couple of moments where where it was going so fast I wanted to like pause it. But you guys, I really am liking this season a lot. I don't know why. I know that a lot of people have been like, "Oh, I don't like it as much," but I'm like, I'm kind of here for it because we're getting all of these interactions that I didn't think we'd get, and these characters kind of expanding upon their personalities, their dynamics, and kind of... I mean, okay, look. Free has a very distinct formula. I know that. I'm privy to that. I get it. I'm fine with it. So, Akuya, my friend. Akuya, like Sosuke, and the Rin before him, needs the power of Nakama. And it's... At first, I was like, when we first got this whole thing about Akuya swimming alone, I was like, oh, okay. Because Rin's beef with Haru kind of spurned his swimming alone. And then Sosuke's thing was all about not wanting to be responsible for people's losses or wins. Sosuke was like a lone wolf. He just wanted to be responsible for himself and not worry about anybody else. Like, he didn't see the value in teamwork and working in a relay. He was like, no. He's like, if I lose, it's my fault. If I win, it's my effort. He's like, I don't want to be responsible for anybody else. So Sosuke's motivations were very simple, but they were understandable. Akuya's motivations for swimming alone are a bit more complex, and I like that. I like that it's not a carbon copy Rin, carbon copy Sosuke situation of why he wants to avoid relays. There's much more under the surface, no pun intended, as to why Ikuya wants to be by himself swimming. And it's connected to Asahi, it's connected to Haru, it's connected to his brother, it's connected, I believe, to Hiyori. It's connected to a lot of things, and Mako. And so I want to go through this episode here and kind of talk about that. Tuno Hiyori. Tuno is his name. What a weird first name, Tuno. So Hiyori. So apparently, Ikuya met Hiyori in America, and Hiyori came back with him. So that's interesting that Hiyori followed him back to Japan. I'm guessing that his parents are like Japanese because he speaks Japanese fluidly. I'm very curious about Hiyori now, like his whole backstory now, because like, why would you follow somebody from your home country all the way back to Japan? That's interesting to me. To swim in high school, that's interesting. But yeah, so I'm gonna get through this OP here. So, getting to okay, look. Rin's morning routine. I'm sorry, but KyoAni, y'all know what you're doing. We've not, for all the flack that Free gets for being fan servicey, we haven't gotten a lot of fan service in the show. We really haven't. It's been like 15% fan service, maybe 15%, I'd say. But a good solid chunk of that 15% was this opening thing with Rin. That whole hand through the hair, like, are you kidding me? Hi, KyoAni, you all know what you're doing. Oh my god, I like instantly fangirled. I like rewatching it now, but the music and him eating and little shark teeth, that was so fun. And then like licking the cheese off his finger, it's like, oh, or the egg off his finger. Come on now. Y'all know what you're doing, and I'm kind of here for it. Also, Rin's apartment's really nice, by the way. A very, very nice apartment. I could see why Natsuya wanted to stay there. We'll get to Natsuya. But yeah, I really like that we're getting to see Rin having a healthy routine and a healthy relationship with Australia, because when we did episode 11 in season 2, Rin was kind of down and out about, having kind of not a bad taste for, Laurie and Russell, obviously, but that he didn't feel at home in Australia. And here, he seems like he feels at home, which is really good. Like, he's got a goal he's working towards. He's like, I'm going to stand on the stage with Haru. And it's like, yes, awesome. Also, Chris and David, the most generic English names, but I love it. And so Natsuya showing up, and Mihail. I like Mihail. Mihail having the similarities to Go and being all a muscle guy, like, okay. And being this coach. I'm super interested. And Mihail has talked about someone he knows from the past. I'm guessing it's our tall, dark, mysterious, dark-haired coach that seems opposite of him that's trying to help Haru. Funny that. I'm guessing that's who he's talking about. But Natsuya. I did not expect... When Natsuya told Ikuyu last episode he was going to Sydney, I thought he had been asked to come and train with Rin's team. I didn't realize that he was wanting training. So that's really, really cool. But I like how everybody assumes the Australian team. They're like, oh, Rin, he's Japanese. Do you know him? And Rin's like, there are millions of people in Japan. How would I know this one guy? I mean, we have 6 degrees of Kasumi, but we're assuming a lot here. And I like that him and Natsuya instantly want to challenge each other. And the coach is like, nope. Not going to do it, because I'm wondering, we didn't get to see them complete their race, so I wonder if Natsuya would have beat him. I love that Natsuya is a shark too, by the way. I like that his animal's a shark, a great white, just like Rin. I think that's really cool. It kind of makes sense with their personalities. I know Rin compares him to Sosuke in this episode, but he's like I don't think Sosuke would, one, get drunk in public like him, but also Natsuya is way more extroverted. Natsuya is like total opposite of Ikuya, like super extrovert. I'm like, But that's so interesting. And I also like that Mihail's like, oh, he's been using this Japanese slang that's been outdated for years. It's like, oh, your dad jokes aren't working. But yeah, Natsuya just chilling out in his ripped jeans, just being like, it's fine. I'll just wait y'all out. I'm a patient man. It's like, And we cut back to Haru, and Haru getting second place in the tournament is really good because he got higher up than some of the other people that placed that weekend. So with Akuya, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot more going on with why he doesn't want to swim relays, or so it seems. And a big thing, it seems, is that there's all this unresolved guilt between a lot of different people. And at the end of the episode, Rin kind of catches on to that. And you could tell that in Rin's head, the gears were turning like, oh, crud, the angst is coming. I got to step in. Because Akuya, him not swimming relays, and if you notice when he gets out of the pool, the teammate doesn't reach. Like, Mako always reaches for Haru's hand to help him get out of the pool. And Haru always grabs it and he gets help getting out. But Akuya gets himself out of the pool. Like, the other guy doesn't help him. And so I thought that was an interesting little thing to note, that no one's there to help him out of the pool. Even Hiyori comes up from behind him to, like, add something to it, but he doesn't help him. So that's interesting. And, yeah, Hiyori, the one thing that I don't like that Hiyori does is he kind of speaks for Akuya a lot, and it's like, just let your friend talk, you know? And Hiyori kind of just, like, butts in. But like I said, I'm going to wait Hiyori out a little bit, because the moment we found out this episode that Akuya met Hiyori in America, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to get backstory on Hiyori. We're going to hopefully tie back to that. And so I'm going to reserve my judgment for when we get that moment. But the guy that's on the same team as Akuya, so Akuya just doesn't like to swim relays. He wants to do everything by himself, kind of like Sosuke. But there's more under the surface. There's guilt with Asahi. Asahi feels bad that he didn't tell Akuya he was moving and he just left. Haru clearly is harboring a little bit of guilt because he's like, I kind of quit the team because of Rin, but now Rin and I have patched things up, and I need to patch things up with Akuya. And Mako seems more concerned just with the overall fact that we don't know anything about Akuya. He's like, wow, Akuya's been gone for like 4 years of our lives, 6 years of our lives. We don't know anything about him. Like, he's supposed to be our friend, but we haven't kept in touch with him. We don't know anything about Akuya. So there's guilt there with Mako. And then with Akuya, it just seems like he has that dream of being alone. And I think he just feels like he's isolated and he doesn't have any friends other than Hiyori. And Hiyori, I get the impression Hiyori is hogging Akuya to himself and wants to be Akuya's friend, but it's not enough, you know? You can't just hog someone all to yourself, right? People have multiple friends usually for a reason, and you can tell Akuya has this kind of desire to branch out, and Hiyori just keeps pruning him back. He just keeps like shuffling him backwards, like no, don't leave the nest. And that gets explained though more this episode, because at first I was like, Akuya, you're being super possessive. Why are you doing this? And that kind of gets explained this episode. But before I get to that point, the teammate says, "What a waste of talent." He's like, "You're doing great all by yourself, yeah." But you could do so much more with teammates. Like, you're just wasting all this talent. So that's a big tie to Haru. Haru, everybody was being like, you need to use your talents. You're wasting time. And, So there's a clear connection between him there. That he would be so much more, he'd have so much more potential if he worked with others. I like that Sosuke and Mako keep up. I really like that because they're very similar characters too. Mako with Haru and Sosuke with Rin. So I really like that they keep in touch. I like that they're just... And Mako has such like a calming presence to him a lot that I can see Sosuke feeling very at ease talking to him. Like, Mako wouldn't press him like other characters would. And I feel like Rin could be genuine and honest, and Mako would totally be okay with it. But, okay... Natsuya taking Rin out to dinner multiple times. I love the teammates are like, quit taking him out to eat. Quit feeding him. Natsuya is so... I'm going through this episode with y'all. Natsuya is so interesting in what he's doing. He's kind of a flirt. He drinks He does his own thing. And I like the idea, I'd never even thought of this, of just someone freelance swimming. Like, he's just freelance swimming for money and just traveling the world doing swim competitions. And I know that sounds silly, but I have a cousin who, Natsuya reminds me so much of my cousin. She did like the Peace Corps, and she went to South Africa for a year, and then she got obsessed with travel, and so she just started doing like all these different, like Teach for America and all these different programs, and just travels the world. And she does this like couch surfing where she just goes to people's couches and stays, kind of like what Natsuya is doing here. And she just travels the world and loves it and is just a free spirit. And she's like, I'll just do whatever I want when I want. And it works out for her. And I totally get those vibes with Natsuya, that he's just traveling. But here's the thing. Very similar to Ikuya, Natsuya is alone. And he's by himself. And I find that really interesting. That Natsuya's like, I'm traveling the world. I don't need a global stage. I'm just doing what I want. And I'm free. Like, he's kind of embodying what Haru kind of wanted to do back in season 2, when Haru's like, I just want to swim free. That's kind of what Natsuya is doing. He's kind of doing that right now. He's just going to competitions and swimming and getting money and traveling to the next one. So I could easily see if Haru ever talked to Natsuya and Natsuya explained what he is doing, that's kind of, what it is. But I like that. I like when Rin grips his hands under the table and he's like, I've got a goal, and that's to be on the global stage with Haru. And Haru has that dream too, and it's like, and they're like swimming for each other. And I love that. I love that that's their dream. That's so cool. And Natsuya, it seems that Natsuya's only goal is that he really wants to swim with Now again, which is awesome and adorable because it pans right back to Now. But I'm like, are you just trying to get as good as you can? Are you just circling around Now and you don't want to confront the issue? Is that what you're doing? It sounds like you're just kind of skirting around the issue instead of directly confronting it. I like the call back to the hotel too, where Sosuke's like, oh yeah, where Ren's like, oh yeah, that's where Haru and I stayed too. Shared a bed, fun times. We're not doing that. Here you go. And what a tease. He was like going to call Haru. And it's like, ugh. But understandably, it's probably late at night, and Ren's like, I don't want to wake him up, because I don't know the time zone difference between Australia and Japan. I don't know what the time zone difference is there. But I like that this episode panned kind of back and forth between our groups. It wasn't just a Rin-focused episode, even though the majority of it was. So getting back to our guys, they're all planning to infiltrate the university that Ikuya goes to on his day off. I'm assuming they're going to run into Hiyori. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a fun time, I'm sure. But here's the thing. We learned this about Ikuya in this episode because he's kind of off a little bit. And look at the muscle book. That was funny. And Kasumi's our infiltrator. Kasumi getting all the details. What a sneak. But anyway, we go back to Natsuya and Rin the next time they go out to eat. And Natsuya gets this text message from Hiyori about Ikuya. And I didn't get to read all of it, so I wanted to pause it here and see what it says. So it says from Tuno Hiyori. Sorry for replying late. Akuya's time hasn't improved since then. So he's been texting him about it. His form has been losing its balance during practice, especially in freestyle, and he doesn't have the power he had at the last tournament. So he's been training in the basics these days. And the text message says Akuya's condition. So that adds another layer to all of this. The idea, and Rin of course puts 2 and 2 together that Ikuya is the brother of Natsuya, 6 degrees of Kasumi, a friend of his. The message from they met in America while he was studying abroad. And so clearly Rin is seeing the connections to Ikuya. He's like, oh, Ikuya studied abroad like I did. And they both have a friendship with Haru, and that friendship has caused them both turmoil and drama because of misunderstandings and them having unrequited matches and stuff and teamwork and basically what this whole theme of Free is about. And so you see a little bit of guilt on Rin's part in that flashback because he's getting to know why the team broke up. And this whole episode has established that there's levels of guilt with everyone surrounding Akuya. There's levels of guilt with Haru because Haru kind of broke up the team. So, because when he broke up, Mako left. So there's guilt with Haru for that. There's guilt for Asahi for moving away and not telling Akuya. There's guilt for Mako for not remembering or making time to communicate and figure out how Akuya's doing. And now there's guilt clearly with Rin because Rin's like, well, crap. Because of me and Haru arguing, Haru wrecked the team and that could have caused this Akuya guy to have drama. And then it seems like there's guilt with Natsuya as well because we get in this moment Natsuya saying that, and Rin's clearly affected, that Natsuya's like, I'm not mad at them by any means, but Akuya, when he went to America, devoted himself to practice, and he says Akuya has a bad habit of losing sight of everything when he gets self-absorbed. And we've seen that in multiple flashbacks now. We've seen this in multiple flashbacks that Akuya works himself to the point where he passes out. And he just overworks himself. And then there's this moment in the flashback where he nearly drowned because of lack of oxygen and had to go to the hospital. And Hiyori was there in the hospital with him too. So Natsuya clearly, as a brother, is concerned about Akuya's condition. Because he's like, I don't want Akuya to get in a rut and overwork himself again and again because it's clearly been a problem. And so there's guilt there too. And I'm wondering if, I know that in a previous episode, Natsuya said the point of Hiyori being his friend, but also Natsuya kind of uses Hiyori to check in on Akuya. So I wonder if Hiyori is feeling a certain obligation that, oh no, your brother asked me to watch over you, so I've got to make sure you stay in tip-top shape. And the last thing that you need, Akuya, is to deal with these drama-causing guys from your past that you didn't like and were mad at, remember? So why do we want to mess with them? So I'm starting to see that there's layers with Akuya and why he is the way that he is. So that's going to be interesting this season to kind of delve into how that all goes down. But there's a couple extra things right before the end of this episode, and one is Natsuya kind of telling Rin why he swims, and Rin's like, well, isn't your dream to swim on a global stage? And he's like, no, not really. And he has a flashback to his dad, and so I'm wondering what Rin saw in that moment with Natsuya, like why he swims, or what his goals are, or what his dreams are. I wonder if Rin thought it. We don't get to know what that is, and we don't get an answer to it. So I'm wondering if that's going to come back and tie into everything. But I just have to say, there's some animation of this dang water in the bay area here, and the little beer can floating in the water. It was gorgeous. I'm like, that's the best damn animated water I've ever seen. It looked like a photo. KyoAni, the lighting, everything, like, quit showing off. We get it. You can animate water. It was really, really good. But we don't get to see, obviously, Natsuya and Rin's race, although it looked pretty close. I don't know. And then, in the end, we're going to go infiltrate the university that Akuya's at. So I guess my point is that we're getting into a lot of things with Akuya. The Akuya's situation isn't just black and white. There's a lot of layers to it. And there definitely needs to be a resolution. There needs to be a come together where Asahi, Haru, and Mako can voice their concerns and kind of put everything out on the table for Akuya. And then Akuya can put all of his stuff out on the table. But here's the thing. I don't think Hiyori wants them to do that. Hiyori does not want them to hang out. So that's going to be where our conflict is. Last season, everybody got together, and that was the whole season. But it seems like this season there's going to be an extra hurdle, and that is Hiyori. So I'm very curious to see how that all pans out. But I also want to know what Natsuya's next step is, if he's going to go to Japan to check in on Akuya, because that seems to be the case, and why he doesn't just go swim with Now. Like, what's up with that? What is up with that, sir? I'm very curious about that. So, It makes sense with the souvenirs now, looking back at the first episode. It makes a lot of sense that, it makes a lot of sense, not even the first episode, back at episode 0, it makes sense why Now had all those souvenirs from different countries, because Natsuya has been hopping, traveling, getting all these things for him. Interesting. I don't know if we had any bingos today. I guess I can look on my card and see if we any bingo items here. Sosuke stretching his shoulder on screen. No. No heart-to-hearts under the tree yet. Gratuitous fan service. You know what? I'm gonna count that hand through Ren's hair as gratuitous fan service. That was pretty darn good fan service, and I was here for it. Kasumi's not gotten a handsy. Kasumi's been very stealthy. Kasumi has been our Nagisa equivalent of the group, because he just goes and gets stuff done. He's been that. I really want to see Kasumi play a basketball game. Let's see. Anything else? We haven't got a Wozmi and the Samazuka Chads. And we're making a biting pun. No, we only had one this episode. What a shame. Just one on the chart. But you know what? We still aren't close to a bingo. But I'm getting there. But yeah. So this episode was just very, very interesting. I wasn't on board totally with Natsuya's character from Starting Days. I thought he was kind of harsh towards them as kids, and it seems like he has mellowed extremely since Starting Days, which I'm fine with. But after this episode, I really like Natsuya's character, and I actually want to see more of him. So there's that. I also like Mihail. I think he's a cool addition. I'm curious if the dark-haired coach is the one that he said he knew from his past. Who knows? And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this whole infiltration of Shimoyu goes. I don't think it's going to go good, but it's free, so I'm here for it. But in any case, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I feel like this is a long discussion, but this season's doing it. I don't know. So I'm curious to know what you guys thought down below. Please, no spoilers. But with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with episode 4 of Free Dive to the Future.